Welcome back to Metro Morning Live. It is now 22 minutes past the hour. The race for the state representative seat 72 is heating up. And joining me now to talk about his candidacy for that seat is Synarus Green. I said Synarus before we went to break. Somebody told me to put an I in there, but there's no I in Synarus. How you doing, Mr. Green?
How's it going?
Did I get you up too early this morning?
No, you didn't.
You okay?
I'm good.
You're running for seat 72. Let's jump in at District 72, rather. So tell me a little bit about this race.
All right. As you said, I'm Synarus Green. I was born in the district, born and raised in the public school system, graduated from Murrah, used to cover some of our games, and went to Jackson State. I got my bachelor's in criminal justice. I also have my master's in education, early childhood. I also hold my master's in my MBA from Millsaps. I've got about 14 years of working in law enforcement experience and about 20 years working in a local, county, state, and federal levels of government. That ranges from the time I worked with the Attorney General's Office in consumer advocacy, where we did a lot of work for seniors being victimized by fraud and abuse. I also worked for the Division of Medicaid, providing Medicaid assistance services for Medicaid recipients. And then in 2010, I was working on a Committee on Homeland Security. And I also was a legislative aide for Congressman Benny Thompson before coming back here under Mayor Chokwe Lumumba as the city's manager. And then now I do the legislative liaison for the city of Jackson, both to the state legislature and to Congress.
Wow, well, you have some fantastic credentials going into this race, and you also, your mom is Tommy Green.
That is my mom. I am the son of Senior Circuit Judge Tommy Green and the late Candidacy Green Jr., who served in the military. He was also an underwriter for an insurance company.
So tell me about you getting, now this is the first time running for any office, right?
Yes, sir.
What made you want to do it? Did your mom tell you to do this?
No, my mom didn't tell me to do it. My mom has always pushed me to do my best in public service, which is kind of how me and my sister ended up working in the field. She did. She was an educator. Most notably, recently, she was a director of Mississippi Learning Institute over at Jackson State. I also started out teaching, which is how I got my master's in education. At Blackburn under Principal Revis, doing 6th, 7th, 8th grade math. But we've always been in public service and pushing for public servitude and how we can do better with our community. And it just kind of felt right as a move. This last year was a tough legislative session for the city. We had advocated extremely hard for some issues. And then Representative Campbell this summer decided she was going to resign from the position. I had developed a great relationship with the city of Jackson. From Congressman Thompson's office, I had worked well with Madison County officials. And so it gave me an opportunity to kind of build upon the relationships and subject matter expert area knowledge that I had gained, and kind of give me an opportunity to kind of serve the District 72 in a different capacity.
Now, how's things going so far?
Going very well. The motivation from the team has been great. Community support has been phenomenal. The big push for us has been making sure we do GOTV. We want to make sure we get people out to the polls. We've been doing a lot of voter registrations. I've got another rally coming up on August 11th, give people opportunity to learn more about me as a candidate, but also to get engaged in the election process. We know that we've also got an important election coming up in November. So we've been kind of working very diligently throughout the area to make sure that people know the importance of being involved in this election process and make sure they come out and get me elected.
So for those who may not know, where is District 72? What does it entail?
So if you're voting in District 72, and you can vote for me at Cynthia and Pocahontas, which is off of 49. You can vote for me at Precinct 83, which is New Hope, 82, which is Hanging Mouse Church of Christ, 81, which is Aldersgate on Beasley. Tougaloo, the city, still votes on Vine Street. Tougaloo, the campus, which is where the students will be able to vote, as well as Ridgeland 1, 3, and 4, which is Colonial Heights, the church. Regional Recreational Center, which sits on the backside of the reservoir, and the Marks Apartment Complex.
Wow, you know, I'm over in that district.
Oh, that means that you can vote for me on August 23rd.
Yeah. Oh, how about that?
Very good.
How about that? That's fantastic. Well, Synarus, man, I see you out in different places. What do you think you can bring to this seat, following Kim Campbell?
There's been a great work been done by Representative Campbell, also by the Hines and Madison delegations on pushing for the interests of the things that are important to us. Specifically, some of the things that I'll be passionate about and I'll be introducing legislation on is How are we making sure that we're giving appropriate funding to our, sufficient funding to our school systems, making sure that our teachers have the resources that they need, and giving our students the greatest of the potential of their opportunities. What are we doing for economic development? How are we spurring an interest for businesses both to be retained here and also creating an apparatus where we can recruit additional businesses to come? And then in the areas of healthcare, is it more affordable? Is it more accessible? When it comes down to the standard of treatment, are people receiving the best in their service? So that's kind of what I plan to push for. And this has kind of been things that have been in the body of work that I've been doing since I've been advocating for the city of Jackson. On the local level, I've worked with local legislators on pushing for infrastructure funding opportunities, whether it be through granting incentives or through loan assistance programs. From DC, I worked on a lot of healthcare issues. We worked on the expansion of Medicaid or making sure those Medicaid dollars are available to recipients who need them. And then from the economic development standpoint, I've worked with SBA, the Small Business Association, with several of their opportunities through programs that they've done across the state for small businesses, minority businesses, 8As, to say, how do we encourage you through providing you assistance so that you can continue to provide job opportunities for Mississippi? So the body of work that I've done, the experience that I've gained in the past, my work experience, is what I hope to bring to District 72.
Wow. And you know, we mentioned earlier that your mom is Judge Tommy Green. Did you always want to be a politician growing up?
I did not. I've always wanted to be a public servant. Grew up in going to church in West Jackson on 1650 Top Street at Allen Temple. Washington Addition has always had needs. And so as growing up as a child, I always had opportunities to do neighborhood feeds, outreach ministries. And so that's kind of how my parents raised me, and that's kind of always followed me throughout my life. I was a band geek, but I was as much of a band geek as I was a mentor. And so that kind of helped me to learn my own personal disciplines. And so I ended up, probably one of the most notable things that I've done for me personally was I ran a nonprofit, was a 501c3 at my organizations. I was a senior advisor to about 70 outreach kids that we met a year. And for these kids, we made sure they maintained a GPA of 3.0. We gave them guidance and mentorship, made sure we got 100% graduation rate every year. But we also contributed about 3,000 hours of community service to the community. So this is not new to me. The position of servitude is one I've always felt comfortable with. And again, I'm just looking forward to the opportunity of doing it to District 72.
Wow. And again, you said you grew up in Jackson and you went to Lanier, right?
I went to Murrah.
Wait, now, what you checked me on
Don't play games, Jay.
Yeah, I know you went to Murrah, and you know, it's a great school, man. You grew up in, you know, in the JPS area. So, do you see that JPS needs a little work? I saw the other day where they were rated one of the worst districts or one of the worst school districts. Is there anything that your district can do to help JPS?
We've got to do more for our public education system. One of the last things I worked on before I left DC was the ESSA, which is what replaced the No Child Left Behind, and so it gave us insight into knowing what the local districts would need as far as additional funding, because of either shrinking tax bases or what the states wouldn't be able to get to continue to provide those services. So yes, whether it be Ridgeland Public School District, whether it be Jackson Public School District, I'm a proponent of making sure that those areas and those teachers and those communities have the resources that they need.
Yes, sir. Was there anything else you'd like to add there, Mr. Green? We appreciate you coming in this morning.
August 23rd, make sure everybody goes out and vote, and make sure you take somebody with you to vote for Synarus Green, District 72.
Not Synarus.
Not Synarus.
Yes, sir.
Take the eye out.
All right. Take the eye out. Well, thank you, sir. Best of luck to you in the race.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
It's been a
Stay
great
with us. More Metro Morning Live after the break.